Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of That Pop Culture Pod. I am Juan Perez. Joining me is my dear friend Hunter Crate, and joining us is somebody who was telling me just earlier that Oblivion being 120 gigabytes is not nearly enough. He wants 240 gigabytes, and it better be buggy, not work, and be $100. Ryan Adder, how are you guys doing today?
Oh, you know me, because, my comments recently obviously have indicated that I'm brain dead. So, it's just a matter of time until my life support goes, obviously. So,
personally, I want only one game to be able to be downloaded on my hard drive at a time. I want every game to be a full terabyte to download. I want it to take a week and a half to download the game, a week to uninstall.
A week to uninstall.
Like it to be buggy and $95.
95. Damn, bro.
Yeah, I don't think Nintendo went far enough.
No,
round it up. Make it 100.
I want to pay for every gigabyte of game.
CEOs deserve my money. They do hard work every day.
If it wasn't
they
for
deserve
the
my $90.
Nothing would get done without them. I mean, when they're working their 10 hours a week or month, that's the only time that anything gets done.
That's a hard life for them.
Nintendo, like Mao, did not go far enough. Okay, we can cut that.
All right, so me and Ryan were talking last week about how we were going to go golfing. Hunter hated us. He didn't want to come. So I wanted to talk about golf for a minute. Did you enjoy yourself, Ryan? Did you have fun?
I got to watch a guy biff it on a bike before you guys got there, so yeah, I had a good time.
Oh, did he? I didn't even know that. I don't even think he told me that.
Yeah, this guy had his golf clubs, and he was drunk as hell, and he gets on his bike, and he's like, all right, see ya, and then he maybe goes like an inch, and his bike just falls over, and then he gets up and goes again.
Oh, you did tell me that, but I thought you said he was in a golf cart and fell out of it.
No, he was on a bike. Okay. Very interesting time. Yeah, no, golf was fun. Golf was fun. My driver game sucks, and I wanted to break my driver after, but that's a whole other issue.
Actually, I probably should have asked Ricardo if he wanted to join us, because I know he wanted to talk about it. On our third or fourth hole, Hunter, Ricardo almost hit a hole-in-one. He was probably 1.5 yards away.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Insane.
It was absolutely crazy. The kart ranger, like the golf ranger, he was just sitting there next to it smiling. He was like, did he just make a hole-in-one? Did he just fucking make a hole-in-one? Like, nah, it was close though.
Yeah, I'm just following us for a while. I'm like, what did we do? And I'm like, oh, Ricardo's just playing really good. That's it.
Yeah, Ricardo was and Jess was. She was hitting. They weren't like going like crazy far. Like she wasn't at like 300-yard bangers, but they were all going like pretty fucking straight.
To be honest, that's like the next best thing, but compared to like a perfect shot or whatever, is like if you're hitting it straight ahead where you want it to be or whatever, like you can get a pretty reasonable score.
Yeah, she was tearing it up. I actually have basically given up on my woods that I have, and her women's, I think they might be Callaways or something. She's got Callaways women 3s. And it's a 3, a 5, and a 7 wood, I think. And I'm just using her woods now because they're just so fucking perfect. Like, every time I use them, I hit a perfect fucking hit. Every goddamn time. There's something about... I think it may be because they're not as long as the ones that my grandpa gave me, and the heads are bigger. Oh my god, dude. They're fucking amazing.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I'm like, my long game was miserable. I was not happy with like any drive that I did honestly during then. But my iron and my short game, which is what I had been working on primarily, which is funny because I usually hear like the opposite for most people,
Yeah.
which is that it's driver game and then iron game. But honestly, I'm feeling better with my short and my iron game, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So I can take I can take solace in that outside of the slicing it right every single time with my driver.
Yeah, I'm just
But,
I'm just built different because all my game is bad. Like I can't single out any specific part
that's
that's
smart.
bad.
You're him.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
are him.
built different. Yeah, I'm like John Daly if he sucked at golf, but still got his plastered on the course.
You need to get. I think Hunter. The issue is we get you drinking, but we don't have any Diet Coke or cigarettes in you. So I don't think.
Oh, I got cigarettes. He
don't.
always tells me no.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, I'm a good boy now.
Well, he's a prude.
Well-
He's straight edge nerd.
Fine then, dude.
Yeah,
Keep on playing bad. We need you to start chain smoking those bad boys, and then watch. You're going to be hitting birdies.
yeah, end to end,
End to end.
lighting the Marlboro Reds off the last hit of the last one.
Dude.
I mean,
No,
like,
I'm a health guru. That's why I have 12 beers and 0 cigarettes.
no, that's smart. That's smart.
Dude.
I remember the one time.
Jesus would
I
be
remember the
proud.
one time
True.
that actually, speaking of Jesus and his blood, Hunter,
What?
the one time that you brought the whole bottle of wine.
Oh yeah, I'll do it
Yeah.
again too.
That's what I was
You gotta
talking
get
about.
the-
Jesus' blood. You were so taken aback.
You gotta get the $3 chucks from Aldi. The
Mhm.
one bottle of wine, $3. 2 of those bad boys in the golf course. You guys aren't ready for this golf season. I have a cooler that attaches to my golf bag,
Oh my God, yes.
and it holds perfectly a 6-pack
So
Or
I
tequila and limes.
See,
One
now we're
issue with that.
talking.
you have to be secretive about taking your drinks onto the course because we're technically not allowed to. I know.
But
Wait,
this,
wait, wait,
this
wait.
is
I
all
got
in
something for
Minecraft
this.
we're
I got
talking
something for
about.
Where the fuck is it?
You keep your beers in your thing. Everyone knows this. It's a commonly known thing.
Yeah, it's like just don't get caught. You know, they don't want to
Yeah.
force it.
For anybody who tells me I can't bring a beer onto the course.
I thought that was me slamming the tequila shots right off the hood of the golf cart after I crash into Ryan for the 15th time with the golf cart.
You know what?
Crazy.
Ryan brought up wine, and it reminded me of a story I like to bring up about me and Hunter. So back in the day, me and Hunter, we would only ever show up to a place about 3 or 4 hours after we were invited. So like they'd be like, "Hey, be here at like 10 or 9," and we'd show up at like midnight, 1 o'clock. We did it every fucking time. So one time we went out to my buddy Dom's house. Well, our buddy Dom's house. And
Oh yeah.
it was like fucking, I'm not even kidding. We showed up at like 2 o'clock and they wanted us there at like 8 for a bonfire. So everybody's like passed out and there's just like a tiny little bonfire. They literally got rid of the big bonfire and they made a smaller one by the house. And we showed up and I think it was Dom's girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh, I got all this wine." It was like a box of wine. And she was like, "I don't want it." He's like, "Shit." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, me and Hunter could probably drink it." And then we took the box of wine out of the box, and it's just a giant sack of wine. And we were just pouring it in each other's mouth, like literally just holding it into the air and chug it, like keg chugging this fucking wine.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. It was literally like there was like 2 or 3 passed out people in the room next to us because we got there so late.
You know, you get there when all the troublemakers are already passed out that way.
Yeah, so we
You're
can be
right.
the troublemakers.
So right.
True. We can start it back up again.
Hey, goddamn right, brother. Oh my God, that's so funny though. But yeah, my cooler on my bag, it's built into it, and it only holds like 2
Yeah.
tall boys. Like it at best, 2 tall boys or 2 waters. Which, let's be honest, I usually just smuggle the beer in, so I usually put water in there so I can fucking try to stay hydrated. Especially as we get into these warmer months, like when it's 100% humidity, 90 degrees, and we're fucking a 12-pack deep. Like it's hard to not pass out.
Fighting for your life on the golf course.
Well, remember last year when we all went golfing, me, you, Ryan, Jess, and we were all like trashed, and I lost my wallet on the course.
Oh
I
yeah.
do remember this.
Yeah, I think I brought margarita that day too. I had like a huge 24-ounce of margarita I made, not even pre-made, and I like it strong. So I was just like, I don't have my fucking wallet, and we had to like drive around 2 or 3 holes to fucking find it.
That was a good time. I think that was the same day that Ryan fell out of the golf cart when I was driving it.
Good times.
Unrelated to alcohol.
I should
Yeah,
have.
Just us being idiots.
I think you're
I
right.
could have sued you for millions.
Yeah, that was a good time, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to all start golfing together. I know a few courses in between us, Hunter, that we need to start
Yeah,
going.
that's
It'll
what I
be
was about
like
to say.
40 minutes each way for both of us. It's like that's not even a hard chunk of change to like commit to because it's like it's really not that far.
Yeah, that's definitely doable, especially at my shorter days of work. So I'm interested.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, the way that we all work, and we're getting to the longest time of the year. So basically, golf May 1st to like July 30th, the sun's up until 10. So it's like most golf courses, it's half off after 6 o'clock. So then it's like you still can get like 14, 15 holes in because you can just golf until the course closes, but the sun's up for so fucking long. And oh, that's actually what I wanted to bring up about when we went golfing. So Ryan hates me and he wants me to die, and he wanted to pop all my tires when he left. He only did 9, so I asked Ricardo, I was like, hey, me and Jess are probably just going to keep golfing if you want to golf with us. He's like, yeah, sure. We literally did not leave until the guy was locking the doors. I was like, we fucking paid to be here, dude. If you wanted us to leave, you could tell us to leave. He never did, so we were literally the last people to leave.
That's the way to do it. Golfing's kind of expensive. You got to get your money's worth. I like when we do like the twilight hours and we just like golf until it's over.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about, dude. I can't wait because I'm assuming within the next 2 weeks it'll probably stably stay decent outside. Like it might not always be dry, but be decent. So like middle of May to the end of middle of June, I would say. I mean July. It's like literally the sun is just up for so long. It's like you definitely get your money's worth. Because the one that me and Ryan like, well, I know this isn't by you, Hunter, so we wouldn't make you do it unless you were staying out this way. But the one that me and Ryan go to, it's literally $20 to golf until they close. And when the sun's up until like almost, past 10 o'clock, you're really getting your money's worth on that.
We got to definitely check out some of the courses by me. We should have you guys should both come out one weekend and we could do like 2 different courses in one day. And then the next day do another course or 2.
I'm down. Yeah, I'm definitely
Run the
down
gauntlet.
for that. Run the gauntlet. Oh my god, if we're doing that, I'm not drinking.
Friday to Sunday, 100 beers.
Between us, it's probably doable.
I always see on for it's like the baseball challenge. It's like the baseball challenge. It's like the 9. It's like the 9 and 9 challenge where it's. I'm sorry, it's the 999 challenge where it's 9 beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings.
Adolf Hitler over here.
Same thing. 18 holes, 18 beers, 18 hot dogs.
I don't know.
Imagine a
the
par
beer that you
3
get at a-
when you're only there for like 3 or 4 minutes on a hole and you have to chug an entire beer. That's deadly.
That's part of the game, baby. John Daly did it.
Imagine a par 3 is pretty hard for me. It's easier to imagine me drinking 9 beers before I get a par 3.
I would say
I'll bring
towards-
IPAs too. I'll kill myself.
maybe in the beginning of the season, but by the end of the year when me, you, and Ryan were going, I mean, you weren't, like, it just goes back to, like, you weren't hitting it super far, but you weren't hitting it super bad either. So, I mean, a par 3 when you've already warmed up, maybe after you played a few games of the season, you could definitely knock that out pretty quick.
Do you want to know what I always hear in my head when I'm about to hit the ball with the driver?
What's that?
In Napoleon Dynamite, when Uncle Rico's playing with the football and he's like, "Want to see me throw a football over the mountains?" I just always hear in my head, "Want to see me hit a ball over the mountains?"
Oh my god, dude.
For me, it's every time I'm putting, I just hear tap it in, tap
Tap
it in.
Dude, I would say putting is probably the best part of my game, and when we went last week, I was putting so
Sorry.
fucking bad. It wasn't even a joke. I think the fact that all the grass on the greens are still like dead. So it's like you tap the ball and it just goes 3.5 miles down the road. It's like, Jesus, man.
I'm pretty good at putting because I've played so much mini putt in
Exactly.
my life. I love mini putt.
That's exactly
so, like,
me.
I'm running the numbers. I'm getting my protractor out.
You're getting on the ground, looking at all the angles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if I bounce it off Ryan's ball and send it into the pond, it'll go right in the hole.
Goddamn right.
Smart.
Yeah, that was actually why I didn't want Ryan to leave early. Is we made it to the hole where every single time we're there, he'll knock 3 balls in the water before he gives up. And he left right before it.
So, I think this summer, whatever golf course we like the least at the end of the season, we should go with croquet balls and mallets and see how far we can get before they ask us to leave.
Jesus. The first hole?
Not if we start in the back.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah. Jesus.
Just imagine in your golf cart you see a croquet ball fly 100 yards.
But you miss and it goes through somebody's window across the course.
Well, Ryan does that with golf balls already.
True.
Only when he's driving.
I'm
True.
talking shit, but I just can't hit the ball far enough to do that. So really, he is he.
He is him.
He is him.
All right.
He is himself.
We've been dancing around it, and I kind of want to talk about it. Oblivion.
What's that?
Oh, it's just this game made by this tiny little publisher called Bethesda. It's probably nothing you've ever heard of, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Dude, I gotta tell you this one tweet that made me laugh today. I haven't, not the most excited about it. I'll play it because I liked Oblivion, but this one tweet made me chuckle earlier. I don't care. I love this one. It made me laugh real hard because it was just like a dyslexic gamer looking at this announcement, being like, "Oh my god, Elder Scrolls 6."
Oh my god!
And I'm like,
I don't know what a Roman numeral is, bro.
and I'm like, all right, you got my ass. That one's funny,
dude.
We love all of our dyslexic viewers.
Can I say
PSA.
one
we're pro
thing?
dyslexic. We're anti Ryan.
So it's really cool that they're shadow dropping. It's kind of bullshit to other developers that they're shadow dropping. It's my one complaint. I don't care.
Who cares? They don't owe other developers anything. They do the same shit to them.
Yeah.
I'm saying
seriously.
If they're not like
if
they're not like a company that you work with, like it's a competitive market. Like,
Still shitty.
All right, Ryan. Name one developer dropping a game in the next week.
Expedition 33, the JRPG that I've been excited about.
I don't even think I've ever heard of it. All right, name one more.
Exactly.
Name one more.
There really isn't. I was just talking to Hunter earlier about Expedition 33 releases on the 23rd, and then Oblivion probably gets shadow dropped tomorrow. So that game's just going to be completely eclipsed. I'm excited about it. It's got a really good. It's got a really good VA cast. It has interesting turn-based stuff where it's more interactive. Turn-based, so it's like you choose an action and then you actually have to like interact with that action.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the score is really good. It's modernized graphics instead of it being, like anime, like Persona, something like that. So it's like, and it's also a North American developer that's releasing it.
So is it a JRPG or is it just a Western?
I don't know. It's basically inspired by JRPG.
Oh, okay.
I guess is what. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like making fun of it. I was just wondering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks for me because I really would like to see like RPGs of that genre start to like flourish and thrive a bit more because games like Persona and Shin Megami Tensei that like historically did poorly in like the early 2000s and stopped getting released in the US because of it is now starting like to hit like records. Like they released Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, I think, like a year ago, and they ended up hitting record sales with it. So,
all right, I got two things.
I don't know.
Let me start with the one about the specific thing you're saying at the very second. It's not even that anybody's fucking them over industry-wise. It's more so
Nobody's
that
talking
it's
about it.
now just cool to like Japanese stuff compared to when we were kids and it wasn't cool at all. Like when I was younger, me and Julian were the
Yes.
only people I knew that had enough balls to say that we watched anime. So now that
Yes.
because nobody has personalities. You know, most people, they only like to like what people like. Now that, anime is cool, Korean shows are cool, that's why these games are doing better. And if that stuff had never gotten cool, they still wouldn't be doing any better. It's not like people are screwing them over in the industry as much as the
I'm not
amount
saying
of people
I'm
who buy stuff are just personality based by who they're around.
Nobody's screwing them over. I'm just saying that it sucks ass for the team that they worked this long on it just for them to get overshadowed by this. You know, like they've had this release date for a year and a half, and then Bethesda comes in and everything is just kind of overshadowed for them. That's it. Bethesda don't owe them shit. I'm just saying it sucks ass to see a game that I'm excited about probably not get the attention that it should deserve.
Okay, I don't want to confuse what I said. You're absolutely right. It does really suck for that developer,
Yes.
and I think I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like it's the same thing with like GTA. Like that
was
game's
just
going
about
to
to
get
say
released,
that.
and there's other
Yes.
games that are going to get released around it, and it's going to be bad for the other games. But
Yes.
it's inevitable with big games getting released are going to eclipse smaller games.
This is
Yeah,
what I was going to
100%.
bring
I
up
mean-
is that basically I think the only reason Tony Hawk is coming out in July and why Bethesda's putting Oblivion out now and Avowed tried to really make their last push to get out when it did is basically from September until probably April of next year. Anybody who drops a game is probably not going to do good because everybody's going to be playing GTA. Would you call that Rockstar's fucking people over? Probably not. It's just that, like Hunter said,
Well,
people are going to go for these big games because they know for a fact that they're going to be happy about it. So why would they take a chance on another game? It's going to just rule the industry. Like if Oblivion comes out
Yes.
tomorrow, it probably won't. But if Oblivion comes out tomorrow, most people probably won't buy anything other than the Elden Ring game until GTA comes out because it's like Oblivion, Elden Ring, Avowed, and GTA are probably going to be the only games people remember from this year. Like GTA
can I
specifically.
be honest? I really don't see people having that critical of a reception about Night Rain. I think that it looks really cool, and I think that it captures a lot of really neat ideas. But I don't see Night Rain capturing a larger audience, considering that it's like a roguelike experience. It's not really for everybody.
The beta had 48,000 testers.
Yeah,
It will
Because
absolutely
it's
do
Zelda.
insane. It's got a big balls name. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Dark Souls 2
yeah.
is booty cheeks.
There-
And it's
So,
now beloved.
I'm talking about reception, not about how many people are going to buy it. Because of course 20 million people are going to buy it. It's FromSoft. I'm talking about like reception. So like this is kind of like the same thing with like this other game that I'm excited about coming out from Bungie, which is Marathon. Its genre,
That's gonna
I
be
don't
awesome.
think. Yeah, So we'll get more into that. I don't think that its genre is going to appeal to everyone, though. That's the issue. I think that like extraction shooters historically filter people out. It filtered me out. I can't play Escape from Tarkov. That game makes me extremely angry, and it's also extremely boring to me.
Well, it doesn't
But-
really have to be received well by everyone to be a really loved game.
Yes.
Like Elden Ring is a great example of that. Like a lot of people love that game, and a lot of people can't get through the first couple bosses.
Also, the replayability of a roguelike
But I
game
think
is
that-
what's going to keep it going, and already the fact that they promised DLC. It'll probably be played
Yeah.
for the next few years.
I'm just saying, we'll see. I'm skeptical on it in terms of how it holds up in the long run, because it's only going to be like a $40 game. I'll be grabbing it. So
Same.
I think
know-
one thing you're underestimating also is how bad people want a Dark Souls-like multiplayer experience like this that's replayable.
That you can
And I
play
think-
alone if you want to as well. Sorry, continue.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think whether you like it or not, too.
Oh, I didn't
this
know about
type
the
of-
soul. Oh yeah,
You can play it solo, but it's supposed to be played
Yeah.
with people. There are going to be people who buy it for the fact that you can play it solo, and people who buy it specifically so you can play with other people. I cut you off though, Hunter. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, I think whether you like it or not, just this type of game with the closing ring and the urgency and the feeling of how good it feels to win with that level of urgency with like these. It's I know it's not a battle royale in the traditional sense, but in the battle royale style, those games are still incredibly popular.
Yep.
And people love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that just being able to, and just the fact that you and your two buddies, like in our case, us three, we're all gonna get the game to play together.
Absolutely.
And I think that is gonna be very common in friend groups. Is it's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna buy this, so you are too. I think that's gonna drag a lot of people who wouldn't typically be playing Elden Ring to play the game. The combination that a lot of gamers, I would even argue, I don't know if the numbers exactly support it, but I think it's got to be at least close, that multiplayer games are just the biggest way to play games now.
Yeah.
Like, I think we are kind of in the minority in liking solo player games.
Yeah.
And I think that making Elden Ring a true multiplayer experience with Night Rain is going to drag a lot of people to the game that would have never played regular Elden Ring or Dark Souls.
They literally put in multiplayer aspects in the regular Elden Ring because people wanted to have a continuous reason to keep playing. People like roguelike so much that games like Risk of Rain 2 and stuff like that, they keep selling and selling and selling. Maybe not at a high volume, but they keep selling. People keep going. Roguelike is going to bring people in, and then the thing that's going to bring 75% of everybody else in is the fact that it's going to be Elden Ring. A lot of people might not have gotten Elden Ring the first time around because, it really smashed the Dark Souls, since Dark Souls 3, it really smashed it back to the forefront. DLC came out, their numbers grew in like the amount that it was bought because they were like, okay, now's my time to get in. This is going to be another reason for people who missed it to get into it. And the fact that it's going to come with like 12 bosses, 12 different variations to play the game when it launches, on top of the fact that it's already gotten promised DLC up to 2 of them. People are going to fucking get it because they know, when I get sick of playing the 12 with all of my 25 different friends, or solo, at least I know I'll get DLC eventually. And like you were talking about, Ryan, you made the biggest point that kind of like puts a hole in you made the point that put the hole in it. The price point is going to be one of the biggest reasons people are going to buy it. It's a cheap Elden Ring game that you could play with your friends or by yourself. People are going to fucking eat it up, dude.
Yeah. Because even I was about to bring up is like a selling point for me for Expedition 33 is $50.
Oh, I know
It's
what
nice.
game you're
I
talking
like
about
that.
now. I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're talking about now. I wanted that one too.
So, yeah, Expedition 3 has had publicity and stuff, but it's just the sense of RPGs don't really get as much love, unless it's like a mainstream one like a Atlas title like Persona or Shin Megami Tensei, and even Shin Megami Tensei doesn't get that much love, compared to Persona 4 or 5 or 3 Fez that they released. Those games just sell millions of copies. It's just
A lot of people don't have the
flawless.
attention span to play those sort of games.
Dude, but they're so fucking good over every other game.
Well,
That's the thing.
If we're going shot for shot, even a mid-range RPG is typically better than the most popular multiplayer game, but multiplayer games still dominate the market. So you got to think
Persona 5 and 4 are still just top. I love Final Fantasy, but Persona's just a whole different type of a game. 4 is a murder mystery. 5 is a kind of a hero syndicate, stop corrupt politicians, stop CEOs, shit like that. And then 3 is, I don't even know, it's a fucking nightmare. I don't know. The Persona games are so cool and varied. I really enjoy them. And the 2 that I have finished, 4 and 5, have had some, I don't know. They've both been 120-hour games. In your defense of that, it takes too long. It really does for some of them. But I'd also argue that there's maybe only 10 or 20 hours in the game where I was like, oh my god, this is taking way too fucking long. Like when it ended, I was like, shit, that's it.
That's a
I'm
lot of
done with
hours though to
I'm
feel that
done
way
with
though,
this.
and a lot of people will not
So
be okay with that.
Yeah,
this
but
this kind of takes me to a
mhm,
point I wanted to make as well about these type of games in general is we're very enfranchised gamers. Like we play
yes.
more than most people do. I pulled it up on Google. The average gamer plays about 1 hour of video games a day globally. Which and we're not even in the highest percentage or whatever, so it might be less than that in America. Um so you're talking about someone who is going to have to finish this game in 200 sittings if it's a 200-hour game compared to like if you want to just drop into a multiplayer game, like we could play several games of
Yeah.
Apex or Warzone or
Or
whatever.
2
So I
campaigns in
think
Night Rain.
yeah, I think that's part of the issue is that like a lot of those games that like I like long games, I like big games like that, but part of the
Me
issue
too.
is a lot of people again, an hour of games a night means if even if a game's 100 hours, you're talking about 100 sittings for somebody on average to
Mhm.
complete a game.
But I think that the sleep feature on consoles really does enable like small gaming sessions. At least like for me, like Stardew Valley is Mariah's gonna listen to this and she's gonna get upset being like, what the fuck? But Stardew Valley for me is
Thanks for
usually like a
listening, Mariah.
nighttime. I thank you, Mariah. I love you. Happy two
Hi
year.
Mariah.
Mwah. So we actually need to talk about Stardew Valley and her at some point. There's two things I do want to talk about today, which is my buddy Jake and his sudden obsession with Baldur's Gate, and then Mariah's obsession with Stardew Valley. But where was I at? I lost my train of thought. Fuck.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
But going
It's
to the
over.
point of like
we're
what both of you were saying, it's like that's why he was like brought up the amount of people who played though. It's like I get what you're saying that these RPGs are amazing and it's like they warrant play,
Mhm.
but most people can't. And you got to think,
Oh
especially at all
yeah.
of our ages, like me, you, and Hunter are 20. You
Mhm.
know, we're in our late 20s now.
Yeah.
A lot of people our age have kids. Like if
Yes.
they're getting 45 minutes a day after working their 10-hour shift, they're lucky. And I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. If I turn on
Mhm.
Oblivion because I'm playing old Oblivion right now until the new one comes out. If I'm doing 45 minutes, I'm not even getting to the quest I had lined up. I'm just getting all my shit ready to start doing the quest. Like it's just
Yeah.
people can't fucking do it at this age. And guess who's buying the games? The kids aren't buying the games. That's why free games are so popular. The kids aren't. It's people 20 and older who are buying these expensive ass fucking games, and they're the ones that got no fucking time for it. That's why the multiplayer games, that the paid multiplayer, the short story games, that's why they just do so good now. I think the exceptions never really make the rule on gaming nowadays. But like, obviously, Oblivion's gonna do fucking gangbusters. Um,
Yes.
GTA, it's not even like that's in a completely different league of its own. Like seriously, when that comes out, I promise you, $100. There, nobody will be buying anything after GTA for quite a while. But like, most people just can't. They just can't do it. Like I have a coworker who spends a lot of time gaming that he can, but like he makes the dinner for his family every night. He's got a kid who's
Mhm.
about getting into her teens, so he spends a lot of time with her. Like I'll ask him like, "Oh, how's Cyberpunk going?" He's like, "I just haven't had time in about a week." He's just picking up something he can do for 30, 40 minutes and then that's it. And something like Cyberpunk, Oblivion, a regular Elden Ring. Like a lot of these games, is like, you can't fucking do it in a normal time, and I will give that to people. I understand
Yeah.
why a lot of people can't do these games.
Mhm.
We can also talk about the fact too that 30 minutes of Elden Ring is usually not going to be a very satisfying gaming session compared to 30 minutes or an hour on like a battle royale.
Yep, I agree.
Like you're not going
Yeah.
to get anything really done. You're not going to move the needle on the story. And on top of that, if talking about younger kids playing the games as well, we just live in a world where younger people have a shorter and shorter attention span. So
Yep.
a game that lasts 20 or 30 minutes and completes is going to be a lot more popular for a younger audience than a game that builds up for hundreds of hours to a specific conclusion instead of one where you get the dopamine rush of a victory royale or a win or whatever every 20 or 30 minutes.
Yep, I completely agree with you, bro. But I will
I-
say we got a little off topic for how we got to this point. So,
So,
have
real
you guys
quick-
seen anything about the Oblivion? You guys know anything about any of it?
Oh yeah.
No, it's
I
120
saw-
gigabytes.
120 gigabytes.
And
I've
Ryan
only
doesn't
seen-
think it's enough. More.
I think that you're dumb if you want it to be 120 gigabytes, but go off, King.
I don't.
Um,
I'm not saying I want it. Ryan, believe it or not, I didn't fucking make the game. I'm just saying
What?
All I'm saying.
Oh, I'm not
All
buying it
I'm
then.
the
saying.
biggest
Oh.
Bethesda game ever made. Oblivion is the biggest Bethesda game
Yes.
they've made. It
Yes.
makes sense that it would be double, well, just a little over double what Fallout was, when basically every game that they've come out with since Morrowind is double what the last one was. It would make
Yes.
sense.
Also,
It would make
But
sense.
also,
a heavily modded playthrough of Skyrim is like 100 something gigabytes too.
Don't tell
Yes.
Ryan. Don't tell him. He'll beat you.
Well,
He'll beat you like he beats me.
Just
Well,
wait till you see
yeah,
Tarkov's is
it's a-
140 gigabytes.
It's
Wait
a-
till GTA's 200. He's gonna fucking shoot me in the street.
It's
I
gonna be
have
240
three.
easy.
I have three defenses to it.
All
A,
right, give it to me.
mods. Mods are usually a higher file size because you are making new assets as well as doing as well as doing new things as well as most modders are not going to compress their assets like most modern devs should be doing, spending the time to compress their assets and shit so it's not 120 gigs when I download a fucking game. So the part that makes me upset is that we have the technology to do it, but why the fuck would we do it? Because it's not necessary for most game companies to, compress their game for it to go live. There's no point. So, one of those things where it's like it can be done, but in modern day practices, it just kind of takes up too much manpower to actually do. So, no point in doing it. So now we have like average 100 gigabyte games when it comes out.
My rebuttal to you, first of all, for him defending him and not giving us an inch. Blessings on you, my child. The other point is Cyberpunk is 100 gigabytes, 110 with the DLC included. The most beautiful, amazing game. It's only one city, only one small city, and a lot of buildings you can't go inside of. No dungeons, none of that shit. It's 110 gigabytes. I seen the pictures. So have you guys seen the pictures of Oblivion? Have both of you guys?
Yeah.
Have you, Ryan?
Yeah.
The amount of detail that they're putting into it, the amount of visibility compared to how big the map is, which it is like 15 to 20% bigger than Skyrim. Which, how about we talk about this? Skyrim with the enhanced update on Xbox is like 75 gigabytes, and that is still with some dookie ass looking graphics. That's all the DLC included, all the new creation content, blah 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 blah. Well, actually, no, the creation content doesn't come installed. You have to install that, and that's still another like 5 gigabytes. So for doing all that, it's about 80 gigabytes. So this game is gonna be 30 more gigabytes, and it's gonna look 25 times better. Probably play 4K 60 frames a second, and it's bigger. Come on, bro. Come on. Oh,
I mean,
and the
yeah,
towns
I
are
was
bigger.
Baldur's Gate is 150 gigabytes. Call of Duty is like 120 to 150. I think Skyrim is 20 or 30 if you're not doing the HD version or whatever.
So, I mean, that's why I was saying that the 120, I don't think games should be too much bigger than 120, 130. But if you're, okay, so I don't know when was the last time you played it, Ryan. Well, I know Hunter said it hasn't been a while, so that's why I'm talking to you, singling you out. He says it's been a long time since he's played it. When you go through the cities and the towns in Oblivion, they're just so much fucking bigger. The smallest town in Oblivion is basically as big as the biggest city in Skyrim. And you can go inside of every single building. And there's typically an attic and a basement. So that's why I'm saying it makes sense to me. because the dungeons aren't as big in Skyrim, but the fact that there's just more places to go into, and it's just a bigger map. So all of those assets, they cost money. It keeps building on how big the game has to be. I know you're like the coder, so obviously you would know a little bit more about that. But I'm just saying, to somebody like me, it makes a little bit of sense why it is the way it is.
I think it would be way better if they were further optimized, and I agree with you on that point. But I do think that just in general, games are bigger than ever.
True.
Yes. I was going to say that one. So, like, there's two games in recent memory that I think that can justify like 120 gig, right?
Starfield.
No, Cyberpunk, Red Dead Redemption. So, Cyberpunk, your argument is that, like, it's kind of a small map with not that, like, you can't go inside of everything, but it's so dense.
It is very
you have
dense.
you have so many things. So, like, it's not even just like assets and graphics and things and characters, like that, like you have to like maintain. It's also procedures and stuff. Cyberpunk is one of the most alive. Night City is one of like the most alive experiences I've had in video gaming. Where like you're talking about like Oblivion, Night City. The amount of times that I would just drive around and just watch people do things, because like the amount of conversations that like I would just stop and just listen into that are just so funny because like they're just using like Night City terms and it makes zero fucking sense. Like I'm gonna zero you. I'm gonna zero you, gonk. Is that Preem? Oh yeah, Choom, and then they shoot each other in the face.
I will
like
say
Night City
I don't
is
like how in a video game that's supposed to be realistic, they make gaming. Like they talk in gaming lingo, and it is very weird. I know exactly what you mean.
But it's not gaming lingo. It's so Cyberpunk. I'll have to give you. Did I ever show you the Cyberpunk Red Book that I have?
I don't know.
So do you know what
Oh,
Cyberpunk
you mean like
is
the
based
board
on?
game Cyberpunk Red?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So Cyberpunk is based on Cyberpunk Red, which is the original creation of it, which is I think it was like 92, something like that, like early 90s. A guy came up with the Cyberpunk.
It's like a D&D style game.
This entire
if nobody
thing
knows what it is.
Yeah. Dude, it's a D&D style game where the Netrunner thing has its own map and its own thing. It's so cool, but so convoluted. I tried to run a camp. Yeah, I tried to run a campaign once, and it was one of the more confusing things because like the way that you make rolls is basically like you get cool points based on like how you describe something. And then your DM is at the liberty of being like, okay, add two. Like it's like I'm gonna jump over this barrel and tumble and then go and then use my cybernetic augment to make him shit his pants.
You got 5 from me right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's like that. Like it was more of a heavy emphasis on okay, play in the style of your character, and we will give you bonuses during this combat.
Like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, yes. Which is D&D. Yeah, that Cyberpunk is literally just D&D of science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so cool. The Cyberpunk Red Book goes into all of the original stuff, like like the Corpo Wars, stuff like that. It gives you a lot of details on the background of Cyberpunk, which is really cool. I ended up getting it with store credit at Pandemonium Hunter when I won. I ended up spending like $700 in cards and then getting first place, and it was like, I'll give myself a little treat.
Easy to do.
Mock soldiers are crazy.
I want to put it on the record that Final Fantasy 15, Ryan's beloved, is 148 gigabytes.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, no. Okay. It's so funny. It's so funny that you brought up 15, dude. 15's... So 15's development history is a anomaly, right? If you look at when Final Fantasy 15 was announced compared to when it came out, also like gameplay of when it was announced versus to when it was released is hilarious. Um, Final Fantasy Final Fantasy 15 was in development hell for like 7 or 8 years because the gap from Xbox 360 to Xbox One was so drastic that they were like, well, fuck, this game doesn't run on the Xbox 360 properly, and they had to scrap a lot of things. And then they scrapped the whole story, and Final Fantasy 15 had to come up with not only a movie, but 3 anime short series to give context to the start of it. Final Fantasy 15 was a shit show of development, and I'm really not surprised that it was 140.
Also, just fun facts in relation to this conversation of game sizes. Ark Survival Evolved is 250 plus gigabytes. God of War Ragnarok is 190 gigabytes. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond 180 gigabytes, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla is 160 gigabytes.
I can defend a lot of things, but Ragnarok being 190
Defendy's
gigabytes makes no sense because that game was not that large. I do not understand what they did.
I don't.
I think that they kind of
bigger
just
than Baldur's Gate is insane. When Baldur's Gate is such a deep game.
yeah. I finished Ragnarok in like 25 hours, and then did the end game content in like 35, and I didn't even fully finish it because some of the end game stuff is bullshit. So.
Like Baldur's Gate, also just like there's something pre-written for every decision you can possibly make. Like
Yes.
there's a billion forks in the game as to like, do you do this or this? Do you do this or that? And all of them accumulate into different things or whatever. And it's like that's 40 gigabytes less than Valhalla is. That's insane. I do agree that these games could be way more optimized, Ryan, and I think you're absolutely right about that. But I think one of the biggest things is that one of the biggest parts of games, as you know, is graphics and texture. It's assets and textures, and your games are getting they people are so focused on realism that's part of why these games are getting so big. It's like people are like, oh my god, I like these god rays, blah blah blah. I care so much about this or whatever, and it's like the games just get so bloated when they spend so much on the graphics. And like everyone's so focused on, all these developers are so focused on making the game look hyper realistic or whatever, and that's part of the bloat, in my opinion.
Yeah, for real. I have 2 things I want to talk about since I think that was funny that you guys were talking about.
Okay, but I want to get back to
addiction.
Oblivion at some point because we have not talked about it at all. So go ahead.
Go ahead, dude.
No. I want to cover your stuff because
go
we're
on,
gonna get another
Pookie Bear.
tangent and
Go ahead,
talk about it at all. Go ahead.
Let's Oblivion.
I usually play Oblivion up until the first Oblivion gate, and then I get grumpy that the combat sucks in it, and then I go do the Thieves Guild quest line, and then I don't touch it again.
So this is a classic. You haven't even finished the game.
He'll do
I finished it
200
in high
fucking
school.
hours in a Japanese game nobody's ever fucking heard, but he won't play one of the most
You
amazing games ever made.
dumbass. Did you even hear what I just fucking said? I finished it in high school.
250 hours in a game you've never heard of. And when he plays Oblivion, he's like, nah, dude, I want to steal some shit, turn it off, and then tell Juan he's a fucking idiot. How about that?
I never called you an idiot. I just said that the combat doesn't click with me anymore. I've never dissed Oblivion. I just said that it's aged. I mean, like, you can say that about, like, majority of games, right? You know, like, Ocarina of Time, fantastic game, right? Is it clunky nowadays? Of course. Same thing with Oblivion.
I want to, though, but I've never played it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make, like, the point of, like, dated things does not mean that it's inherently bad. I just think that just, like, for what it is right now, it really doesn't hook me in terms of what I want out of gaming. Like, I'm very interested in seeing what they do with the remake because I've always wanted like to go back and play it, but it just doesn't. I don't know. I get frustrated in like the first like Daedric Gate. You know what I'm talking about, in the first city.
Yeah.
It just feels like there is such a steep combat increase, and like I will like go and do like other quests, and I'll come back, and then I will still like, and then I will just still like get bodied by like a random like Daedric guy or like one of like those imps that will just cast like a fireball that goes like maybe like a centimeter a second. You know what I'm talking about? Why do they move so fucking slow?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. The
I
one
don't
thing
know,
I
dude.
will say
You
is
think
that
that?
the way that I play it is when I load
Mhm.
in, I'll do the point up to where they're like, "Hey, go save that guy from the Oblivion Gate," and then I ignore it, and then I do every other quest line because the Oblivion Gates add like a complexity that I'd rather go fully explore every goddamn city before that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm
but I like
39
there.
hours into my playthrough of Oblivion right now,
Mhm.
and I haven't even touched an Oblivion Gate yet. Well, actually, I just did the
Okay,
first one over the weekend.
that's what that's what I was about to ask. Is like that after it's like that after you. Never mind. I don't want to spoil anything. I realize. Can I say something
The game's 20 years old. Yes, you
about
can say
after?
something.
Cool. So after you do the Daedric Gate, you end up doing things with the blades. I forget what it is, but God, I'm a fucking weeaboo. I've been talking about anime and JRPGs this entire thing, and I'm about to say you get a katana from the blades that's really good.
Spoiler fucking alert, dude. Canceled.
it's
I'm
literally
sending that to
it's
Ford.
literally it's literally just a really basic blade that I was just like in high school. I'm like, whoa, this is fucking sick, and then I beat the shit out of everything with it from then on.
You know,
Because like I went from Skyrim into Oblivion like immediately.
yeah, me too. That was the first time I ever played it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because like
find it
that
really
was.
weird that the Blades, their entire culture is
Hmm,
based around like an extinct culture that doesn't even exist, and it never existed on the actual plane that they live on. It's on a completely different continent on the other side of the
yes.
world, and their entire culture is based around. I find that really weird.
Did I get it right? Is it the blades?
Yeah, it's the Blades because they're all of their stuff is
That's
Akaviri,
sick.
and the Akaviri
I'm.
just don't exist anymore.
It's so cool that that kind of memory still just like is like lodged in my
The
brain because
katanas are the
like I
coolest.
said, yeah, because like I said, I historically have not gotten past the gate. I usually just do like guild quests and then quit afterwards because I remember like the beef of Oblivion is really doing like the side quests, but finding the side quests sometimes such a chore if you do not have a guide. Especially especially like to find some of like the like the real meat in terms of like the side
Well, the
quests.
point is every
Um,
city you go to, everybody you talk to, you got to ask them about rumors. It's still
yes.
very, very, very dated in the fact that you don't get told what quest you have to do except for the main quest line. You have to talk to every
Yeah.
character, and then they'll tell you exactly where to go. The good thing about Oblivion
That's what
compared
they
to
did in
Morrowind is you still have you. They introduced quest markers, and then that
yes.
changed the game.
I've been watching a guy play through. It's not Morrowind. It's the one it's two.
Yeah,
Elder
Daggerfall.
Scrolls 2. I've been I'll have to send you him. This guy is um he's a very I don't know how to describe him. He's like a video game reviewer and kind of like reviews older games, but he has like a very like well put way of talking. I don't know how to describe it. He's very fun to listen to, and I usually put him on in the background when I'm working or if I'm working on like crafts or something like that. He's been playing through Daggerfall, and the way that he keeps track of his quests is he literally just has a notepad that he just has, like that he's just like updating constantly after he talks to somebody, which I think is kind of cool to a point, but also extremely annoying when you look at like journals and quest logs and things that are added in modern day.
Yeah, I played Elder Scrolls 1 and it was too hard for my tiny little brain. And the
Yeah,
biggest
I
problem for
did
me
this.
is you couldn't change key bindings. So then I started playing
Mhm.
Daggerfall instead. And I got pretty far in Daggerfall because you can change the key bindings. So then I changed all the key bindings to what I like. I had a lot of fun with it. And it looks amazing. It looks really good for the type of game it is, like 2D Doom type game. And then I tried playing Morrowind, and that was hard. And that was a fucking hard ass game. Like, it plays like shit. It moves like shit. It looks like shit. The quests suck balls. Like, it's just awful. I'm not a big fan of that one. But I'll probably finish it eventually, but I'm just not a particularly big fan. So that's why I went back to good old Oblivion, because I've been hammering through games on my quest log forever. I mean, like my backlog forever. And I didn't hear anything about the new remake for the last 4 months. So I was like, you know what? I'll just fucking play it. But Daggerfall by far is probably, I would say Daggerfall is as good as Skyrim as long as you don't mind that it's like a 2D Doom style game. If you're okay with that, then dude, the game's amazing.
Some of those older games in terms of Elder Scrolls really rely on you using your imagination in terms of role playing.
Well, it is a role playing game.
Yes, it is a role playing game. I think it's like one of like those things that like I've at least taken for granted is that most like role playing games place you into the role of somebody, right? And then it's kind of like a roller coaster. A lot of these other, like a lot of like these older games are like, okay, you are going to set your own role playing character and you are going to go off on that. What you do is you. Like that defines that. Like even like Mass Effect, right? It's a role playing game, but like in terms of like how you act, it kind of turns into a roller coaster based on if you're good or bad. You know what I mean? Like the Paragon system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know, and you only get a few things that you can say, which in other games, like especially
yes.
90s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s game, you can really take that to another level. And luckily, I mean, I
So
have an amazing imagination, so that's typically where I go with that.
yeah. So Juan, I'm gonna take a low blow with that in that we were talking about um low low choices of dialogue. Why do you like Fallout 4 so much then?
I feel like the dialogue trees are big, but yeah, you only get a few that you can talk about during
Yeah,
a sequence,
that's
but the dialogue trees are bigger than like a Fallout 3. I like Fallout 4 the most
I
because it's
mhm.
what I
Well, I mean
thought
like New
Fallout 3
Vegas
looked
is
like.
yeah, if you want to talk about like extensive dialogue trees, Fallout New Vegas, but like also like Fallout New Vegas, I feel like I hit the end of it and I had maxed out speech and it kind of just turned into like every single like if I wasn't able to talk to somebody, I would just gun them down and then otherwise, like I would just convince them. Like it just kind of turned into that. Like it really was not a extensive dialogue tree, but like in terms of like Fallout 4, it was just a frustrating experience a lot of like the times in that like it's like I don't want to say any of this stuff. And then I say something and then it doesn't even match what like I had selected. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I
feel
didn't
like a
have
role
that
playing
problem
game.
as
It just
much,
feels
but I do
yeah.
get why some people felt that way, but I never really understood that. I don't know.
I felt that way I felt that way in Far Harbor a lot. The one with
I know. Going back and playing Far
Dima, the
Harbor, I think
robot.
the whole thing just kind of sucked, to be honest with you.
I loved Far Harbor, but I think that they stumbled on the ending so much. I think that the concept that everything was so cool, the fog, the what the fuck was the automaton that they had that was I don't know. The main automaton of that society I think was super cool. I
Oh
think that
yeah,
they
the
had a lot of
brother of Nick
ideas.
Valentine. His name was like Mira or
Yes.
something, Mira or some shit.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it was so cool. I loved that. I loved the setup, but I've never seen something fumbled so hard,
yeah,
which just feels like majority of like the Fallout 4 quest lines or even like side quests. Sorry, like DLCs. Oh,
All right. Well,
I do want to talk about
Hunter sounds like he wants to die because he's not saying anything. Um.
yeah.
So, all right, Hunter, give
I
us
Huh?
an update about the Oblivion stuff, and then let's move on to our final comments before we head off for
Yeah.
the day. Do you remember anything about it coming out? They're going to talk about it tomorrow, anything like that?
I don't. I didn't really get to see much of it yet, or much of the announcement. So I think that you would be better on taking that one off.
Okay, Bethesda's going to talk about it tomorrow, April 22nd. File size supposed to be big, not big enough for Ryan. Unreal Engine 5 We'll know more about it tomorrow, and we'll definitely cover it more next week.
Hey, real quick,
What's that?
they're talking about Fallout 3 remastered now.
I would love that. I would love that. Hunter, have you been reading anything? Have you been playing anything?
Most of the stuff I'm reading is not necessarily pertaining directly to pop culture. I finished Lord of Light, the book I was reading, and it was not my favorite Roger Zelazny book. It was pretty good, but like a 7 out of 10 when all of his other books are like a 10 out of 10 to me, which is kind of disappointing.
That's fair.
But I just had a harder time getting into it than the other ones, but I am a little bit biased because I kind of grew up with like the Chronicles of Amber. So that one is pretty ingrained into my brain. So I'm a little bit biased, I'll admit, but it was a good read. It was interesting. And then I'm reading more nonfiction stuff. So and in regards to playing games, I have been getting back into Apex. Ryan and I and my little sister have been playing, and that
Sweaty.
has been quite a bit of fun.
It is sweaty. I definitely have felt pretty sweaty. It has been kind of fun. I've been enjoying being the call-out person, even if not all call-outs are listened to. I think we've been getting it kind of down pretty well.
I'm a little kid in that I like the dopamine rush of seeing the big victory screen.
Hell yeah.
It's been pretty nice.
I
I've been getting a little bit burnt out on Deadlock because there's been some weird issues with some of the new updates and stuff like that have been kind of frustrating for us. But so Apex has felt fresh because I took so long off of it, and they redid a lot of stuff since the last time I played. There's a lot of new. There's like a whole upgrade system that's new. There's new upgrade stations on the map for guns. It's easier to bring people back that die. There's all the classes feel a little bit more defined now, which is really awesome. So I've been enjoying Apex a lot again.
Have
And
you
of
been
course,
watching anything?
I'm all caught up on Righteous Gemstones, waiting for the next episode to come out.
You're a monster.
I am all, yep, incredible show. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm excited every week for the next episode. I'm all caught up on Abbott Elementary, is another one that Bailey and I watch, and that's another pretty good show. But that one's kind of like a feel good, fun kind of sitcom-y show.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that. I think I watched the first episode and I never continued on.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's a cute show. It's kind of has like the vibes of like The Office, where like a lot of the characters are pretty likable and they have their stupid moments and their character.
you say Abbott?
Abbott Elementary, yeah.
Yes, Abbott is fantastic. I can highly recommend it.
All the
Ryan,
actors are really great.
Yeah, all the actors are really great. The one guy I forget is the one teacher. He's from Everyone Hates Chris.
Yep.
Yep. So that's cool.
You know
Yeah.
what I've never watched before, and I finally watched today for the first time in my life?
What?
Casino with Robert De Niro and who's the other low guy? Joe Pesci. I had never seen it, and I was listening to my book. I was listening to the Stormlight Archive, and somebody had a name like Joe Pesci, I think. It was like something like Pesci. And I was like, oh, Joe Pesci. Oh, shit, Casino. I need to watch that. What is that on? And it was on Tubi for free. And I only had to watch like 3 or 4 minutes of commercials the whole 2.5 hour movie. I was like, dude, I'm watching that shit. Oh my god, it was a good ass movie.
I'll have to check that. I've watched that movie, but I haven't seen it since I was probably like 13 or 12 with my grandpa. So
all the action
like
is in
from
the
the
last
90s,
5
isn't it?
minutes, so it's kind of boring, I think, for some people. But I love mob stuff, so I was into it.
yeah, that's fair.
I got another one too, guys. Me and Jess have
I-
made some Johnny Bravo jokes recently, so I was like, I'm gonna watch Johnny Bravo. And I started fucking watching that too. And I was having a goddamn ball watching that shit, dude. I fucking love that show.
Dude, Johnny Bravo is incredible, and I have an incredibly funny segue about Johnny Bravo in regards to games we've been playing. I forgot that Ryan, our friend Jimmy, and our friend Jake, we started our Baldur's Gate playthrough.
Oh my!
And
So-
Jimmy's character, he made to look just like Johnny Bravo, and he's a
Hell
berserker.
yeah. Hell
I gotta
yeah.
take a picture. And the other important
Johnny
thing...
is Johnny Bravodius.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good. And the other funny thing about our campaign so far is Ryan was hyping up how much his favorite character is Asterion, or one of his favorite characters, and literally immediately Jimmy just murders him not knowing who he is in the first fucking
Yeah,
5 minutes after the crash landing. He's just like talking to him and he's like, I don't like this guy. Murders him. Ryan goes, oh no, we like him. Uses his revive scroll, his one revive scroll, brings him back, and Jimmy goes, no, kills him again. Doesn't even know it's who Asterion is or what or whatever. And then Jake just picks him up, puts him in his pocket, the whole man. After I take all of his clothes and dress like him, I'm like, Ryan, I'll be Asterion, so I'm dressed like him. And Jake's just carrying him dead in his pocket, and now we have him in a freaking chest at our campsite, just his whole corpse.
yeah.
At least you have
It
him.
is.
We can revive him when we need him.
Nah, don't worry about it. Jimmy will kill him again.
I wanted to say one thing about TV shows before I want to jump back into Baldur's Gate because I have something I need to talk about.
All right, we'll be wrapping up after that.
Yes, you guys need to watch Common Side Effects.
Yeah.
From Adult Swim.
I've already watched it all.
Cool. Hunter understands. That shit was fantastic. It's by the same people who did Scavenger's Reign, which they got absolutely cut on their second season. And
the same people that made King of the Hill.
Oh shit.
Oh no! So he's a executive producer on it. He's not one of the main writers, but yes, 100%. It has fucking what is his name?
Mike Judge.
Yes. Mike Judge is one of the main voices and one of the main producers of the show. So he's one of the main editors.
Okay.
So,
I mean,
but
even if he's not the writer, the producer literally guides the entire thing from its start to finish.
100%. 100%. I'm just saying what the original author is, because he got kind of cut on. So Scavenger's Reign, if you guys have not seen it, it's on HBO Max. It's one season. Yes, they got approved for a second season. We're halfway through it, and then they got canceled halfway through it.
Oh yeah.
That's not a hell yeah, but go off, King. The only other thing I wanted to bring up is that my friend Jake somehow has 80 hours into Baldur's Gate, and he is only about 3 hours into the campaign. He has told me that he just keeps on restarting it. Jake, if you're listening to this, that is insane. Just save more, dude. That is fucking crazy that you restart the game each time. Right?
I would say so.
Cool. Hunter?
It couldn't be me. I get real wrapped up when I play an RPG game and what my character is, and like I try to think about what he would do based on who he is and everything. So like
me too.
But I'm a real dark elf sicko when it comes to a fantasy game. So if I can't play as a goblin, I'm gonna play as a dark elf. And this is my second Baldur's Gate campaign playing as a dark elf. But this time I'm not Lothsworn. I'm a different man. I'm slightly less evil. Slightly.
All right. Well, I guess we will end on that, boys. I appreciate you.
What are you talking about? 10 more hours.
120 more gigabytes.
120 more gigabytes.
So feel free to follow us on all the big social medias. Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Also, the other thing I wanted to tell people about. The Pistons are in the playoffs. They're actually playing right now against the New York Knicks. They are down 1 in the series. Hopefully, they can pull through because I'll kill myself if they do not. So, if anybody isn't opposed to Detroit sports that listens outside of Detroit, definitely give that a check out. You guys have any other final words for us?
We should definitely, you should catch up on Righteous Gemstones, and I think that in the next couple of weeks this season's gonna be wrapped up, so we should definitely have an episode discussing that soon.
Yeah, I will catch up in like the last week or two so that I can just watch them all, so we can not immediately just talk about it. We'll have like a spoiler cast.
I'm down.
What season is it even on?
4 or 5.
Oh, never mind. I'm only on season, like the start of season 2. I can't do shit.
Time for you to
Catch
catch up,
up.
bro. You still got like 4 weeks.
Dude, we caught up in like a week and a half.
Yeah, they're like
We
8
were
episodes a
sickos
season.
about it. Yeah. We were sickos about it. It's so good. But thank you everybody for joining us for this maybe a little bit long podcast. We appreciate you guys listening in, and as always, send your questions our way.
And we will post the last episode on YouTube. Sorry that we had this.
I have one last thing to say to Mariah. That's you. That's it. Thank you.
All right, guys. See you later.